Wow. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, ladies.
Yes. Good morning. Happy
Bright and
Friday.
early. Happy
Yes.
Friday.
Happy
Yes.
Friday.
So what's going on this week, Ricardo?
Man, there is a lot going on, Courtney. Date with Destiny week is upon us. Today is officially day one. Date with Destiny is getting ready to start in a couple of hours. The first ever virtual date with Destiny, I will add.
Exciting.
For those of you who don't,
Really celebrating, but finding the joy in the journey. Like
Mhm.
the journey is what gets him fired up, I would think.
I'm gonna
I don't
need
know.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
need y'all to read the book
I'm gonna
because
Okay.
according to him,
Okay.
that
because
might help.
according to him, it's very straightforward. The joy is the win.
Okay.
And that's it. That's the joy. that, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's all about
Well,
getting that win and doing whatever you have to do to get that win, and
I'll
that's the
have to
joy.
look- I'll have to look back because there is one of those guys that's like him, that's like super, super successful.
David
And does
Goggins.
really that's who it is.
Yeah,
That's
I was
who
about to
it
say
is.
you're I know
Yeah.
what she's going with this, and she's right. Yeah.
Yes, that's who it is. So he works with him and
Who are we
studies
talking
him
about?
in his David Goggins
Oh, David
and,
Goggins.
and
Yes.
Andrew Huberman. So that's what Michelle is saying. LOL.
Yeah.
Jesse. But yeah, that's who it is. So I threw the wrong name out there.
Oh,
It's
okay. I
But
was
they're in
like,
the relentless bracket. So
but y'all, yeah,
Yeah.
he is. But y'all still need
Yeah.
to read the book because it's a whole different thing. Like, because he talks about how Michael Jordan would, like, if he would win like the third championship, he would hold up the number 4, like he was done. Number
Oh,
3
yeah.
happened. We're,
Well,
we're,
that's
work-
why.
we're working on number 4 the minute we get off the court.
That's what I mean. Like he wants the journey. He wants to keep going. He doesn't want to just like get to this end goal and then be done. You know, it's the
Correct.
journey. It's not the end goal. It's the journey.
It's the
That's what I
win.
mean. Yeah.
I
It's
think
the
y'all are
win.
both right. I'm getting enlightenment from you both right now. If I can just put that out there.
It's the win. Y'all have to read the book because it's like
Okay.
a whole different twist on everything. Yeah. So y'all have to read the book because it's
Well,
it's
it is the
interesting.
win, but it's the next win and the next win and the next win. So it's all the wins along the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the next win.
There's
You're
a
done
great
with you're done with this one. You move on. You go to the next
Yeah.
one. You're done.
There's a great song by Matt Nathanson called "Little Victories," and basically the chorus line is I'll learn to get by on little victories," and it's just a very powerful song. So if maybe
That's
relentless
awesome.
marathon runner is not your style, anyway, but I love it because y'all both got me into those people that I'm mentioning. So
Okay. So real quick, Jesse says y'all. I like how she typed out y'all. Y'all have to remember Ricardo is relentless. He is not about celebrating. He is all about what is next. Yes. And that's the truth because I've talked about it publicly before and I'll keep talking about it. I had a problem and still continue to have a problem celebrating the wins because it's about next. We're done. Let's go.
So Ricardo, our topic today is being proud of yourself, of ourselves. So do you think that we should be proud of ourselves?
well, before we answer that, can we ask him when was the last time you were proud?
Yeah.
That just reminded me we didn't get your answer, Ricardo.
Great question. The last time I was actually proud was after basket delivery, right after we were done, and that lasted all of 5 minutes, and then I was already thinking about 2021.
I was gonna say, don't you think being proud of yourself is celebrating a win?
It is.
Even if it's for 5 minutes.
It was 5 minutes, and I was like, okay, for 2021, this is the goal. This is what we want to do. This is what we want to change up. This is what we're going to work on. And it was like, okay. So then we start planning out the next one. Like it was, but for me, I think like I need to work on prolonging the pride. I don't think I'm
Yeah.
proud for a long enough time. I don't enjoy the win. It's like, okay, we're done. Cool. Next.
What if we forced him to journal on being proud of himself?
But here's
that
the
would
thing.
work for him?
Here's the thing. I
Maybe
will say
so.
this. I used to think I was crazy because that's how I thought and that's how I felt. I used to think something was wrong with me because everyone would talk about celebrating the win, even the small wins, and I'm like, no, I am not going to celebrate that. It's just something that you do because you do it. There is nothing to celebrate. I'm a human. That's what I do. And I thought I was crazy because I could never, and I still struggle with wrapping my head around celebrating the small wins. I just do. And I thought I was crazy. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought that I was not really getting these concepts about self-development and growth and achieving things. And I was like, is this what's holding me back? Because I don't celebrate the small wins. But then I came across the book. I came across Mr. Tim Grover, and he's like, you don't have to celebrate the wins. It's all about the end goal. It's all about what's next. It's all about pushing yourself and getting that win and achieving the goal and moving on to the next bigger one. And I was like, okay, so I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one who thinks like this. I'm not the only one who feels this way. I'm not the only one who's like, okay, we're done. Let's go.
No, you're not. And there are so many people out there like you. And that's exactly why we have 3 different type of personalities on this show, because it's all different ways and they're all right. Like, you're here, you're on the journey.
We're here.
You're doing the right thing because you got yourself to the journey and you're still going. So nobody can tell you it's a wrong thing, but yeah, we're all undeveloping.
But it really just took me a
Undeveloping.
long time to accept that, though. And I think that's one of the things about self-development in general. And that's one of the reasons I appreciate this podcast, is because we don't try to box things in.
Yeah.
We all have different opinions, and we appreciate the opinions for what they are, opinions.
Yes.
And there's no right, there's no wrong, but we also don't allow ourselves to get boxed into one specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be open.
You have to be open
to growth. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I always love this saying, it's okay to be open-minded. It's not like your brain's going to fall out. So I don't know who said that. It was a meme I saw it on originally that I've shared numerous times. But yeah, like, why are we so scared of it? You know, that unknown is just such a illusion of fear.
One of the things also is self-development is not meant for you to beat yourself up with. And I see it all the time. You guys see it.
Mm-hmm.
You guys see it.
Yeah.
That you see someone that gets into it or has been into it and they use it as a tool against themselves to beat themselves up.
Mhm.
That's not what this is for. The intention of these books and this material is not for you to beat yourself up.
Yeah.
And so it's about to feel better and grow. And you can't whoop yourself to success. You just
Unfortunately, we've all tried. It's
We've
not
tried.
a successful
It does
formula.
not work.
Yeah.
You
It
cannot
doesn't.
beat yourself up to success. No, I'm going to be
Whoever
successful.
like designed it where we really believed we could punish ourselves to the top, you know, like, it's just an interesting way to
It
go about
doesn't.
it.
If it doesn't work, move on. If whatever
Yeah.
you're listening to, if whatever you're into, if it doesn't work, move on. All we're asking you is to try it.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's it.
different things in personal development work for different people. There's so many different things. You just have to find what works for you.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's how, like Ryan says, that's the beautiful thing you said, Ricardo. It took me a long time to figure that out. That's the quest. So you just
It
got to
is.
figure out what's right for you.
Yeah, and that's a great example of me beating myself up, because I would hear people about celebrate the small wins and celebrating this and watching them celebrate, and I'm like, I don't get it. Why have you been celebrating that for a week now? Let's move on. Well, tell me what's next. I don't understand. And I would just use that to beat myself up with until I said, okay, no. And then, like I said, it went inside. Something is wrong with me. What is wrong with me that I don't get that? And that's not the right way to go about that.
Yeah. What's a good way to reframe that what's wrong with me question? Because you're going to have, you as in all of us, we're all going to have those moments again where we have a thought and we're like, what's wrong with me? I always think that. Da, 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 da. So whatever stage we're at life, but how could we reframe that? Like, how could we turn that into a tool?
What will
I
work
think
for me?
asking that, or what can I learn from this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because most of the time that we are asking that question is because we feel like we're failing in some area. And so if we'll just ask, what am I supposed to be learning from this? How can I grow from this? I think that would make a big difference.
Mm-hmm. And I
And
agree. And adding, like, are you supposed to approach it like everyone else, or are you
Yeah.
supposed to find your unique rhythm in it?
Correct. Correct. And being honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, because if I think back at the moments where I just did not understand the celebrating and enjoying your wins and your accomplishments, if I asked myself, what can I learn from this? I would just be racking myself against the wall, because I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I can learn from this. But if I really took a look at it from that point of view, I would be able to say, I'm learning that this is not for me. I'm learning that this is not the right strategy. I'm learning that I can't force this and make it happen because it doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes you just have to really go deep with that, because everyone looks for that surface level lesson. Everyone looks for that surface level lesson. It's not as easy as I'm touching the hot oven and I burnt myself, so I'm not going to touch it again. It's not that in your face the majority of the time.
It's a whisper.
It
It's not
really
a
is.
scream.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's not a scream. It's not, ooh, touch the hot oven. Ooh, I'm not going to touch it again type of lesson.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's your energy. You can tell it's that discernment that I talk about, the energy. You feel it. If something's off, that's where you kind of need to shift.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
that's it. Because it's that scratch your head like, I don't get it. I
Mhm.
don't get it. And then I would talk to people. I would talk to coaches. I would talk to other people about it. And they're like, Ricardo, you just have to celebrate. You just have to embrace it. And I'm like, okay, let me go try harder. And it didn't work. It doesn't work for me. And that's okay. It's okay. But that doesn't mean that I'm not proud of my accomplishments.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to throw myself a party and a parade for it. That's the difference. That's the difference. I'm not going to throw myself a party or a parade, but at the same time, I'm not going to stop other people from throwing me a parade.
That's what Ryan mentioned.
But I'm not going to do it for myself.
Ryan mentioned earlier, he said, so Ricardo isn't the hey everyone, it's my birthday week type person. I was going to say that's the only exception with Ricardo. Other than that, yeah, he doesn't like the spotlight. He just likes to help. But
I don't have time for that.
And then I wanted to repeat a comment by Ryan that just all we're asking you to do is try. So just what if you gave yourself permission? What if you
That's it.
allowed, received?
And listen to the feedback, because it's all internal feedback. Okay, I'm going to go celebrate my win. I'm going to really celebrate it and celebrate it hard. And because of my model of the world, celebrating is throwing a big ordeal for yourself, it didn't fit and it didn't feel right. But I would never be able to figure that out if I didn't try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to clarify, because, okay, we've really bashed the word try on this show so many times.
We should.
And as we should, because, and the reason why is because when you say, I'm going to try, you're basically giving yourself you're buttering up your excuse for when you fail. You're already planning to fail if you say, I'm going to try. However, to actually go out and do it. So we're talking in get up, do something different, change this factor, change this, do this, take someone's advice. But we're not saying sit there and tell yourself, oh, I'm going to try that tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try and not act. That's kind of the very toxic way to use the word try. So I just want to clarify that. Don't confuse. Try new things all over, but like try to turn it into something. You're turning it into something. So if you're sitting there saying, well, I am trying, clarify that. Hone in on that. Define that for yourself. What do you mean? Because that word try can be limiting belief as well.
Ain't nobody got time to try.
No,
Just
do or don't.
Either I do it or I don't. I ain't got no time to try. Who has time to sit here and try?
No. Sorry. This isn't a dress rehearsal, guys. And it never will be.
Why is that, Courtney?
You guys, we don't know if we have tomorrow. We don't know if we have the next 5 minutes, So something could happen to us. So your quality of life is only the mood you're in right now, stacked thousands of times. That's it. So we can control that. So that's why if you aren't willing to do something now in the moment, you're not going to do it later. You're not going to plan and figure it out if you aren't willing to even like pull something up and look it up or jot it down in your calendar, your planner right now, so it's the little actions that you won't take now speak volumes about the big actions you aren't going to take later.
You know what? I'm the type of person that when I sit and put things off that I know that I need to do, that I want to do, it takes more effort for me to avoid doing it than it does to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It takes more effort for me to get out of doing something that I know is good for me, that I know that I want to do, that I know that I want to work on, than actually doing it.
It really does. Like if you sit there and you talk yourself out of it, spend half the day talking yourself, I don't want to get up and do the dishes, whatever it is. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. You're spending more energy if you would just get up and do it. I do that all the time. If you just get up and do it, you'd be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I have a mantra with especially around dishes and laundry and things like that, but around work things, like just any of that mental, like, oh, I don't want to do this. That thing will probably take 30 seconds to a minute.
Yes.
It'll probably literally only take you less than a minute to do. So that's kind of the mantra I have when I'm like, I don't want to do this. It'll take less than a minute. It'll take less than a minute. There's exceptions. Some things takes 5, some things takes 10 minutes. But why is that worth spending 2 weeks putting off and shaming myself in the meantime? Way too much effort put the wrong way. When
you took the words literally right out of my mouth, Courtney. You literally just took the words out of my mouth.
What were you going to say?
Because if you take that 5-minute thing and you've been putting it off for 2 weeks, and then you beat yourself up over not doing it even longer.
Yeah.
For not doing that 5-minute thing.
So much wasted
It's ridiculous.
energy.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Why do we do that?
Picture
Why do we do
we
that?
could like see the measurement and like percentage of battery that we're wasting, or like gasoline gallons we're wasting. Like if we could see the real energy measurement that we waste in those times, I mean, it'd be eye-opening.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think
Yeah.
one of the reasons we do that is because we think we want to do it, and the reality is we don't. And we're
Bingo.
too proud to say, this isn't for me. Maybe I posted it on Facebook already and said, hey guys, I'm going to go do this, and this is going to happen this year. And to post that defeat, it's hard.
Mhm.
It's hard. So we try to talk ourselves into doing it. And then we know that we really have no interest in doing it anymore. But yet we want to force ourselves to do it because we said we were going to do it.
But the fact that we call it a defeat in our brain, that's still a meaning we gave it.
It is.
We're still
Yeah.
controlling both sides of that in our brain.
A defeat instead of a shift.
Mm.
I mean, it's okay to shift just because you start out in one direction. If that ends up not being what you thought or what you thought you wanted, shift. It's okay.
It's okay. And
Yeah.
don't make it a defeat.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. One of the things I like to talk about and I like to question people and get in people's face is when they say, well, I really can't do that right now, or I really want to do that, but I don't know if I can. I don't know where to start. Okay, look, if I gave you $1 million in 1 week to get this going and start it, would you all of a
figure it
sudden find the resourcefulness? Yes, you would.
Mm-hmm. Hands down.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to give you the money before. I'm going to give it to you in a week or 2 weeks or in 3 or in a month. Would you all of a sudden be motivated enough? Would you find the resources, the time, slice out the time to make it happen? And the majority of the time, it's a resounding yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Why? So we are capable of doing it. We just don't really want it that bad. But man, when you throw
don't
out $1 million in a month, boy, people get up.
It's leverage. We don't have enough leverage. So we've got
Yeah.
to create that leverage to get us up off the couch.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. Because let's take Courtney. Like, you say you like to prime. If I said, Courtney, I'll give you $1 million if you prime for 6 months.
No question. Hands
Yeah.
down. I'd be priming 3 times a day. I'd be like, hey, bonus rounds. Let's go.
You figure
Now-
it out, right?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question, Courtney. Do you
Okay.
think that the results of priming every day for 6 months are greater or less than the value of $1 million?
Oh, wow.
Okay. Wow. So that is a fantastic question, but the benefits of priming are hands down more and better. Hear me out.
So,
Oh,
And I say this, I don't have $1 million in my bank account. Yes, I would love anyone to cut me a check for $1 million right now. Just message me. I will send you my mailing address. But like, you can make hundreds of millions of dollars in 6 months if you prime and you stay in your authentic self and you stay on your authentic path. With that said, I don't want $1 million to be somebody I'm not. So if in 6 months that would make me undoubtedly more me and more evolved and enlightened for my mission, that is what is most important, not the $1 million. Because if I'm doing that, I can make any amount of money I want to manifest. It maybe not tomorrow, maybe not this year, maybe not, yeah, screw that. You can definitely make any amount of money in a year. Come on, that's limiting beliefs.
So,
yeah.
So if hands down, yes, if someone said, I will pay you $1 million in 6 months if you will prime every day for the next 6 months, and you say yes, hands down, yes. But you believe that the benefits of priming every day, even without the $1 million, are greater than $1 million, then why don't you prime every day?
I appreciate this lesson, Michelle, because
Yeah. Do you like being
anytime I'm on the fence, I'm gonna be like, hold up.
Before you answer that,
Came out of
Courtney,
my
I'm
own
gonna give you 30 seconds to think about that while I make an observation here. I literally just turned into a viewer. I'm like, okay, I'm not even saying anything. I'm like, let me get my big old soup ladle and just see where I can stir the pot a little bit more here because man, I'm really stirring it right now. And so I just want to sit back and see. But
really, it's directed to me too, because we do that all the time. We're like, we think this will create leverage, but really if we think about the benefits, I mean, I do that all the time. There's so many things that I put off that if I would not put off, I would have so much more value. But if someone's like, if I give you $1 million, will you just do it? I would be like, yeah. But really, it's just a good question. You don't have to even answer it, Courtney. I think
that's an amazing question.
Courtney has to answer it.
That's profound. So
I'm going to answer it.
Can y'all tell me who's going to give me $1 million in 6 months? No,
I will say this. I will say this before Courtney answers: is we're the only 3 people that struggle with this. No one else struggles with that.
Yeah, nobody.
Only
super
the 3
unique.
of us. We're super unique in that way. That's how we are, and we're the only ones that have this struggle. So go ahead, Courtney. You've had some time to answer. To think about it.
No, that's a profound question, and it definitely hit home. And I think it was Kyle Cease that makes the joke about Cheesecake Factory, right? He's like, how does he do it? But this sums up how I'm feeling right now. But basically, like this little whisper that is like, you should leave this job. But you don't listen to it because you're like, no, next week we're going to have our like Christmas party at the Cheesecake Factory. And they have that one dinner I like and da-da-da. And he's like, but if you listen to the whisper, you could make as much money as you want and own all the Cheesecake Factories in a month and make them all vegan. Hey. So he's like, if you ignore the whisper, you're giving up like all your power. Mm-hmm. And not to say that, yes, listen to the whisper one time, you'll make enough to buy a restaurant chain, tomorrow. No. But if you follow the pattern and live your life this way, will you eventually learn how to make and earn an empire where you could afford to purchase an entire restaurant chain? Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of that I'm hearing I'm just putting myself in that story where I'm like, I've ignored a lot of whispers, and as much of an advocate as I am for them, that's why, is because I struggle with this. So I'm very passionate for me to overcome it, but that's why I'm so passionate for you to overcome it, because you don't have to live your life like everyone said. Granted, there are guidelines we all need to follow to be a good person, but give up this fitting into a box.
So answer the question, Courtney. Why don't you prime for 6 months?
Well, I am. No, hands down. Like, thank you for that question, because you just changed the perspective of priming for me. It's not an option, because now I'm like, I'm costing myself $1 million in 6 months if I don't.
All right. So we're going to be asking you. So we're going to be tracking it now. You've made a public declaration.
I have an empty journal. I'm going to start a little priming journal. That's what I'll do. And then each day I prime, I'll just write like a one-liner of how the experience was. How about that?
That works.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. And big shout out to my friend, mentor, teacher, Glenn Morshower. He is the man who lives the whisper.
Yes.
Like, it gives me chills just thinking about when he talks about the whisper. We need to bring him on soon. I
What's
need
some
to invite
enlightenment
him on.
he's given you on the whisper?
Oh my goodness. It saved his life. Like, it saved his life on a couple of occasions. And he just does not ignore the whisper. And one of the things that I admire about him and his relationship with his wife is that she now is the same way. So when he has a whisper moment, she just goes for it. She trusts right along with him. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to give his stories away, but I mean, when I think about living the whisper and his speech about the whisper, Glenn Morshower, hands down. Hands down. And I just I get tingles thinking about his stories. So that's all I'm gonna say. Like Forrest Gump, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh
Man.
man.
Well, what are you thinking, Michelle? I'm going to turn it on you. So you asked me that question, but what drove you to ask me that question? Because I know you weren't only talking to me,
Yeah, just
but I
really
thank you for that.
thinking about that. Just whenever Ricardo said, if I would give you $1 million, it made me think, would I do? Well, yeah, I definitely would do that. And so why don't I do the things that I know will get me there? Why consistently do the things that I know will get me what I want my life to look like. It's like that. I honestly think that if I give you $1 million in 6 months statement, that's almost feels more certain. Like there's more certainty in that than you have to believe, like I'm kind of going on a tangent, but do I honestly believe that these actions will get me there? And I think the belief is where there's the disconnect. So if somebody says, I'm going to give you $1 million in 6 months if you do this, you believe them. But if I do this every day consistently for the next 6 months, I'm going to get this. Do I really believe that? And I think that's where we have to kind of reflect and look at where's our belief.
Let me add on to that, Michelle. That's a great point. But what occurred to me right this second was when someone offers you $1 million to do X and you get really resourceful and you do it for 6 months, that's a sure thing. That's a sure thing.
You believe that.
You believe that, and it's a sure thing.
Happen. Yeah.
Whether you create or don't create, like let's just take priming because that's what we were talking about. Priming for 6 months for $1 million. Whether you believe or don't believe that it will improve your life significantly, which we know that it will. Correct. We know that it will. We know that it'll make you feel great, and we know that it's the best way to start your day. We can justify it because the $1 million is a guarantee, regardless if that will improve our lives or not.
Jesse asks a great question because she says, so it's that we don't believe in ourselves. And that's a great question because the $1 million is not a guarantee.
It's not.
Like you can tell me you're going to pay me $1 million, but you can not do it.
Because
So
it's
not
person,
happen.
like if Bill Gates zoomed up on here and he's like, guys, I'm going to pay y'all $1 million. We'd be like, okay.
Yeah, but we believe him.
Correct.
Like Jesse's saying, more than we believe in ourselves.
Yes.
And I posted, I don't know if it was yesterday, but a meme that I stole from Jake Ducey, but it says, you believed in Santa for 8 years, you can believe in yourself for 5 minutes. Think about that. Like what characters, we had multiple ones, but there are things that you literally are totally okay. Like that's normal. Believe in Santa. Teach your kids to believe in Santa for a few years. You don't hesitate to do that. But 5 minutes of belief in yourself, this is like the human struggle, right? We're like, am I enough?
You know
Can
what?
I do it? Am I valuable? Yes.
You know what? At the end of the day, we want to win no matter what. We want to achieve no matter what. And if we go back to the $1 million thing, and it was Bill Gates, we would be pretty certain that he can give us $1 million if we prime for 6 months. Whether the priming changes our life or not, we're still going to get a win at the end of it. But without the $1 million leverage, it's a gamble. We're shooting the dice. Is this really going to truly improve my life for 6 months? Do I really, truly trust the process?
Goes back to certainty.
It's a gamble. Yes, because we want to win. Okay, and we'll justify it in our head. Okay, even if priming doesn't change my life for 6 months and I just do it and I really don't end up a better person in 6 months, I'm still going to get $1 million. So it's worth it to me.
And the fact that your brain goes to justifying is proof there's growth there that you can reach out and grab if you just keep charging towards this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So anytime you're justifying, it's just the ego trying to hold you back from something. It might be big or little, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's worth the try just to not give in to the justifications
What
and
a-
not create that habit.
Jesse says, this is interesting. We believe in God who we believe in God who we can't see or feel, but we believe in him, and yet we don't seem to believe in ourselves.
Yeah.
But he created us.
He did.
Source created us. Universe created. Whatever your language is here, your religion, your higher power.
Well, Ryan is coming with the jokes. I'll do it for $167,000 per month.
Pay plans.
That's
They're
funny.
necessary in life, man. But yeah, okay. So thank you, Ryan. Okay, pay plan. So priming is how I'm gonna have to think of how I'm gonna phrase that to myself, but I'm gonna tell myself it's my daily like pay plan check-in, like I did my thing to get my payment 6 months from now, which ultimately is the growth.
I'll
Not
tell
the
you
money,
what.
but I mean, hopefully.
I'll tell you what. Think about it like a 401k or a Roth IRA. You put, and you continue putting, and the compound interest adds up, and then eventually, and after a while, after you put in so much, it starts to pay off and grows. But you can't touch it. You can't touch it, and you're not gonna be able to see the growth immediately. But after a while, because of compound interest, that account will grow.
Yeah.
So think about it like that. Yeah.
It's guaranteed. All you have to do is keep going one certain direction.
Correct.
And I mean like the right way, not the wrong way. I mean the simple version, not like, oh, should I stay in this company forever? No, if you feel like you need to pivot. That's the whisper, but by all means, like keep going, take the feedback, shift, whatever you need to do to stay on your authentic path. But that's the spoiler, is your authentic path jumps around like crazy because you don't know the right step until you jump in and start. Yeah. Then you can see how to do it right. Then you can learn. Then you learn new skills. Then you fail, blah, blah, process repeat. So just keep doing the right thing. It sounds crazy, but that keeps it simple in my head.
Yes.
Ryan says that's guys. Good, Ricardo, that it's gaining interest, but it's not just gaining interest, it's gaining compound interest. So each little growth spurt, you're starting with a bigger base and then you grow on top of that. Now you've got a bigger base and you grow on top of that. So it's compounded interest even.
Not interest on the original deposit.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, accountant brain, for clarifying that. Yes.
Yeah.
Even better than we thought.
Great conversation, guys. This was good.
Yeah,
man, I love coming in here with no subject, no title, no anything, and we just get on the roll and we go.
Yeah.
Talk about trusting. All right. We'll be back on Monday with what, ladies?
Our word of the week. Yes.
Yes. Remember to visit
forceforgrowth.com for all your favorite platforms to listen to this episode and every other episode. And head over to YouTube, give us a subscribe, share with somebody. We just appreciate you guys. So thank you.
Yes. And we'll be back on Monday, guys.
Have a great weekend.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Can I get a y'all from everybody?
Thanks, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.